In October, LeBron James said the following: "I want to shoot 80% from the free throw line. That's my only goal. That's my last goal of my NBA career. I've done everything else." In some sense, he's right. He's done everything in terms of achieving greatness in basketball. Multiple-time NBA champion, multiple-time finals and league MVP, scoring champion, rookie of the year, all-NBA, all-defense, etc., etc. But even in a season where he is shooting a career high in three-point percentage at 43% and a career high in field goal percentage at 58.7%, his free throws have somehow not improved at the same rate. In fact, he shot a slightly higher percentage from the free throw line way back in 2008 and 2009 at 78%. So, the rest of this video will explain what I think he needs to do to shoot over 80% from the line for the rest of his career. All the best free throw shooters playing right now shoot free throws very slightly differently than LeBron in terms of their timing. Why this is the case and why this might be hurting his free throw percentage will be explained in what follows. First, the theory. I'm breaking down free throw shooting into two physical sections. One, the upper half, which is essentially what your arms are doing, and two, the lower half, which is essentially what your legs are doing. Everyone's arms do two motions to carry out a free throw. The first is raising the ball from its lowest point below your hips to your set point above or in front of your head. The second motion is extension, where you push the ball from your set point to your release point. Concurrently, everyone's legs do two things when they shoot. They bend and then they extend. I am proposing that LeBron's two physical sections, his upper body and his lower body, move very slightly out of time with the ideal timing that the most elite free throw shooters utilize. Let's take a look at a time where his free throw shooting let him down to see what he did wrong. In this game versus the Nets earlier this year, LeBron missed a clutch free throw. Watch how he completes part one of what his upper body does by bringing the ball from his waist to his set point above his head. Simultaneously, his lower body finishes its role, to bend and extend. The end result is that, as the ball reaches his set point, his legs become fully extended, and his heels are as far off the ground as they will get during the free throw motion. I think what happens next is why his free throw shooting isn't consistently above 85%. As his arms complete part two of his upper body motion, by extending forward and up, his heels actually drop back to the ground. This means that his body is falling ever so slightly back to the ground as his right arm extends forward and up to shoot the ball. Shooting a fadeaway jump shot is harder because your body's momentum is falling away from the rim as you shoot it, increasing the chance that you misjudge the force required to push the ball the correct distance to the rim. Of course, with free throws, the difference in momentum is on a much smaller scale. But I think it makes enough of a difference to reduce LeBron's free throw shooting very slightly, from say about 86 or 85% to what it is now at 76%. To prove to you that this is the most likely reason why LeBron can't shoot over 80% from the line, I want to show you how the very best free throw shooters time their upper body and lower body motions in relation to each other. Let's start with Steve Nash, who shot over 90.4% in his career, number one all time. Watch how, as his arms complete part one of the upper body motion by raising the ball from his waist to his set point, his legs are still bent, and his heels are still in contact with the ground. Compare this to when the ball reaches LeBron's set point, and the difference is clear. His knees are locked, and his heels are off the ground. Now, returning to Nash, as his arms complete part two of the upper body motion, his legs start to extend, and his heels start to come off the ground. Right when the ball leaves Nash's hand, his heels come off the ground as high as they're going to. Remember when LeBron completes part two of his upper body motion, his heels aren't moving up, but rather moving down towards the ground, because they already reached the highest point a moment ago. Nash isn't the only example of someone who times his two motions differently from LeBron. Here's Steph Curry, who has shot 90.3% from the line over his career. The ball goes to his set point. At the set point, his knees are still bent and his heels have barely left the ground. The ball then goes forward as his arm extends, and right when the ball leaves his hands, his legs have straightened and his heels are off the ground. It's a similar thing with LeBron's teammate, Isaiah Thomas, who's also an elite free throw shooter. Even though his heels come off the ground earlier than with Steph and with Nash, notice how his knees still extend a lot as his arms complete part 2 of the motion, compared to how LeBron's knees are already locked in place. You might point out that I've only shown great short free throw shooters who are below 6'3". Could it be different for tall players like LeBron, who are wings and bigs? Let's look at KD, who is an excellent free throw shooter. With him, it's less pronounced, but his heels still rise a little as he completes part 2 of the arm motion. Similar differences occur with Dirk. With Michael Jordan. And with Kobe. All of whom shot over 80% from the line over their careers. Whether their knees straighten or their heels come higher off the ground, or a combination of both, all these great free throw shooters have upward body momentum when their right arm extends forward to complete part 2 of the upper body motion. This is a trend that is hard to deny when compared to LeBron's technique, especially because this season, he is shooting as well as, if not better than, the players on that list when considering three-point and mid-range percentages. With free throws, this timing and momentum difference is the only major difference that LeBron has in common with all the best free throw shooters now and of all time. So, what change should LeBron make to imitate these great free throw shooters? Well, it might look a little bit like this. A small adjustment in his timing, where he delays his knee bend and extension very slightly relative to his arm motion, would allow him to straighten his legs and raise his heels as he pushes the ball up and forward. The key difference is that his legs maintain a loaded position as he raises the ball from his waist to his set point, which is part 1 of the upper body motion, to allow them to extend during the second part of the upper body motion, as opposed to extending during the first part of the upper body motion. The chances of LeBron ever seeing this video are next to 0. But if you watch the whole video and think that LeBron would benefit from seeing this, then try to spread it around by sending it to him on social media, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, or something else like Reddit. I truly believe that this is the solution to LeBron James's relative difficulties at the free throw line. Obviously, there is no way for me to know for certain that this would work for LeBron, but I hope that the evidence I presented in this video has convinced you of the possible validity of my theory. And keep in mind that this advice could apply to you just as closely as it applies to LeBron if you also suffer from poor free throw shooting. Make sure you give the video a like down below too, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.